So in putting together our set, I realized that I need to explain to you guys how to change pivots on objects. And so to do that, I'm just going to create a cube. I'm going to, this gives you a size of our set. I'm going to scale this up. Now to change a pivot, you'll want it to be in your, well, you don't have to be, but to me it makes the most sense to be in your translate. Have your translate tool or manipulator active. And if you hold down D, then it changes your manipulator, right? To where the arrows are gone. That's how you know you're in the change the pivot mode. Pivot mode, not pivot mode. Pivot mode, not pivot mode. Okay? Now, you can hold down D and V. I'm going to turn off my key reporter because it gets kind of annoying real quick, and I'll turn it back on after I'm done with this. So if I hold down D and then I press V, the center turns to a circle. That means I'm using magnetism or snapping. And I can middle mouse click next to any vertex I want to, and that pivot is going to go to that location. Okay? So if I let off, now it translates from that new location, not from where it was originally. Okay, so why is that useful? Well, a lot of our objects in our set, the most important part of it is, will they sit on like, let's take the oven for instance. It sits on the floor, and its back is almost always against a wall. So it would be most important to have that pivot point at the bottom back side of the oven. And that way we can just snap it to that corner, that bottom corner of any wall. So to snap an object, so let's say this is my pivot. This is my new object that I'm going to place, and I want to snap it to the countertop. So with it selected, okay, it doesn't even have to be on the scene anymore, or yeah, in the viewfinder anymore. But if I wanted to snap it, say to this cereal box, then all I have to do is hold down V. So I'm pressing V, and I middle mouse click next to a vertex on that cereal box, and it snaps to that location. Okay, so that's really easy. It makes it so now I've set my cereal box on I've set my new cube on the countertop with almost no effort at all. Okay, so that only works if your pivots are set correctly. Now, you can snap objects to the grid also. And the grid exists outside of this grid. You know, it continues on forever, actually. And so I could snap to that by holding down X. And it'll snap to that location. Now you'll see that it only snapped, it did sort of snap there, but not all the way. Well, that's because I have one of my handles on my manipulator is active. So you're going to learn a lot about this translate manipulator right now. If you have one of the handles is active and you try to snap, it's only going to snap on that axis. And I'm snapping to the grid right now. But if I were to snap to vertices, you'd see it pop to whatever vertex is closest to my cursor. Okay? But only on that axis. If I need to reset that, all you have to do is click in the center of your manipulator so all the handles go back to their default color. And then I could hold down V and snap it to, you know, any vertex in the scene. Or I could hold down X and snap it to any grid point on the scene. And that works in your orthographic views as well. Okay, so that's when you're doing set or creating sets or laying out things, having good pivot points is absolutely crucial. It's also absolutely crucial in rigging in general. So let's change the pivot just one more time to kind of reinforce stuff. Let's say I need to reset my pivot, first of all, and I just want it at the center of the object. I can just go to Modify, Center Pivot, and it puts it at the center of the object that I have selected. Okay, and let's say I just want it to be along in the middle of this edge. Okay, so all I have to do is hold down D, and I can activate one of these handles. So when I click on one of the lines to turn it yellow, then I can hold down V and click next to one of the vertices, and it pops my manipulator down to the very bottom of this cube. Okay, but I also want it back against this edge, so I can hold down D again, and then select X this time, and I'll make sure there's no vertices behind it other than the ones I want to use. Also D, click X, and then drag next to this vertice, and now it's precisely at what I would, on this cube, I'm considering to be the back bottom corner of it. Yes, we have a question. Yes, that is the other option, is you can just press Insert on your keyboard, and that will leave you in that mode. It's a toggle. So you don't have to hold down D if you don't want to, but you can just press Insert. And then when you want to get back to your regular translate mode, you press Insert again, and it takes you back to your regular manipulator. Holding down D is the temporary alternative. Okay, so that's how to change pivot points and how it might, and a reason for how it might be useful.